Welcome, everybody, to day 2 of Calming the ADHD Family, our 3rd annual summit. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Laura Dawn, and I am your host. I'm your coach inside the ADHD Village and the founder of the ADHD Village. Today is day 2. So 11 interviews were released yesterday, 11 more released today. Plus, we had that live interactive session yesterday inside the Facebook group for 2 hours. We're gonna have another one of those today, another one tomorrow. I'm trying to give you as much value as I can over the next 3 days. So you've got the pre-recorded sessions that you can watch on your own time within the 24 hours, and then the live sessions. Now, the live sessions will stay inside the ADHD Village, so you can watch them at any time. And then I'm also putting them onto YouTube. So if it's easier for you to watch later, it will be on my YouTube channel, which is the ADHD Village. So I'd love to see you over there. There's tons of content on the ADHD Village YouTube channel. So check it out. And if it feels aligned, please subscribe. I now have 511 subscribers on YouTube. So that's exciting. I'm just going to double check that I am live inside the group, and I want to make sure that you can see me. Please, oh yeah, there's 8 people watching. Yay, hello, Carolyn from Germany. Guten Tag, wie geht's? What time is it now in Germany? It's the evening-ish, dinner time. I was just thinking, I'm wearing a bracelet from some of my cousins who live in Germany. So I was thinking of them today as I put that on. That was something I did today that made me happy. As I put on my jewelry, I thought who it came from. So I've got my heart here from my mother-in-law. I have a bracelet from my mom that I have matching with my mom, my sister, and my god sister. Another bracelet that my mother made me, a bracelet that my husband made me. So those were little teeny tiny things that I did this morning that make me happy. And as you're joining, I'd love for you to share in the comments, what have you done today to make yourself happy? And if you're thinking and you can't think of anything, or if you might have the thought, well, I can't remember the last time I did anything to make myself happy, you're not alone. Know that you're not alone. Like that's very common when we're raising kids with neurodiversities. We are often just so much in the energy of giving and taking care that we forget to give and take care of ourselves. So if you did do something kind for yourself or loving for yourself today, let us know in the comments. And if you didn't do something kind and loving for yourself today, maybe you can think about something that you plan to do today. And it's something teeny tiny. It doesn't have to be big. Like as I put on my jewelry, I just felt like love and gratitude to the people who gave me the jewelry. So that was a small little thing. I was putting my jewelry on anyway, but that really filled my cup and really made me feel happy. Okay, let me know where in the world you're coming from. So we know Caroline is from Germany. So what other countries do we have? Hello, Amanda from London, Ontario, not London, England. Hello, welcome. I'm in Ontario as well. Hi, Terry. Terry, you decluttered 1 item. I love that. And I know that that's something that you'll often do, 1 or 2 items a day. And over time, like that makes a big difference. Carolyn, you drank tea out of your new Starbucks cup, which your friend bought me from her home in Canada. Oh, so cool. Hi, CJ from Florida. Ooh, Amanda, you cooked up a storm and filled your freezer with breakfast foods to make easier school mornings. Ooh, I love it. It takes care of the future us. I love that. I'd love to know what the breakfast items were that you made up. Terry, you shifted your attitude. Love it. Hi, now I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Chris from Greenfield, IN. Okay. IN, and then somebody else wrote Indianapolis. Does IN mean Indianapolis? So I do not know the short forms for the states. Let me know. Hi, Beth from New Jersey. Hi, Wendy from Indianapolis. Hi, Terry from Ontario. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are in the world. Hi, Delia. So glad to see you. Good morning, Sandy. Happy you're here. Hi, Beth. Geeta from Canada, happy to be here. Yay! Hi, Pam. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. My heart's so full. Hi, and I hope I say your name right. Vishnu from Boston. And Chris, yep, it's pronounced Chris, but it's spelled in a really cool way. Awesome. Amanda, French toast and pancakes. That's what you made, that you're freezing. That's so cool. I love it. Wrap it in a paper towel so they don't get soggy when reheating. Great tip. How fun. CJ, you allowed yourself to rest in the morning. I love that. Taking care of yourself and watching you. Oh, thank you. Yay. PA. Okay, this is like, you guys are testing me. PA, is that Pennsylvania? That's what my guess is. This is going to be like a geography lesson for me. Okay, let me just make sure everything's, yep. Okay. So I just need a couple seconds to like maneuver the windows. Oh, there we go. There's one window. Here's another one. Okay, I want to share something with you. Because some people have been saying, where do I find the links to the interviews? So this is might be a little bit confusing. And I've gone over the details of the summit for months with people on my team, and then I forget that I may only announce it 1 or 2 times out to the world. And so, although it may be obvious for me and my team, it might not be obvious for everyone, especially if you haven't read every single one of the 18 million emails that have gone out. So you might have missed some details. So that's okay. Let's figure this out. So let me, I want to share my screen with you. If I can just figure out how to do that. There we go. Okay, so people are asking, where are the interviews? So let me just clarify. So this started off as a pre-recorded summit, meaning I did the interviews with the speakers ahead of time, recorded them, and then they're set up like in an email. The email goes out to you when you register. So each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week at 6 a.m. my time, so Eastern time, that's New York or Toronto time, you should be getting an email with links to all of the speaker pages for the day. So there's 11 each day. There's myself plus 10 more. Don't feel overwhelmed by the number. I know from going to conferences myself that it can feel overwhelming. So really pick one thing to focus on each day, or 2 or 3, like pick just a few little things. Also, you don't have to watch all of the sessions, like scroll through and pick which sessions are the most meaningful to you. Trust your gut. You'll know which ones like are kind of calling to you, which ones are interesting for you. Remind me to come back to that topic of trust your gut, because there's something important I want to share with you. But anyway, so the emails should be in your inbox every morning with the links to the sessions. If you're not getting that email, check your spam or junk folder. Also check your promotions folder. Sometimes they get shoved in there. So, and if you still can't find them, go to your search bar and type in calming the ADHD family. It should come up, or type in Laura and it might come up, or type in day 2 and it might come up. So you can try those things, troubleshoot those things. If not, if those things don't work, you are all in Facebook if you're watching me. So that's great, because, okay, inside the Facebook group, pinned at the top. Okay, do you see my screen? If you just comment yes if you see, so I know that you can see my screen. Oh, I see it on my phone. Good, cool. Okay, so let's see. Community home. Why aren't I seeing the pin? Oh, there we go. See at the top of the group where it says featured, all the important things are pinned to the top. So for example, right here, it says, welcome to day 2 of Calming the ADHD Family. If you click on this one, it has all the links for today's sessions. So if it's buried in your email, if you can't find it in your email, it's right here. So you can click on whatever session you would like right here. Okay, so I'm trying to keep this as organized as possible. Okay, and then here are the links for from yesterday, which they should not be active anymore. but they will be re-released on the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, all the sessions from day 1, 2, and 3 will be re-released. If you need some help navigating the Facebook group, this little video here explains that. There's a welcome video, and then all the schedules are at the top here. So day 1's already happened. So let's move on to day 2. So here's the schedule, here's the speakers, here's the schedule with the topics. And then the next one is about our live event. So today we'll be live with Olive, Sonali, and Nicole. And then for day 3, again, here's the speakers for day 3. Here's their names and their topics for day 3. And then the live sessions inside Facebook. And if you've missed the live sessions, they're staying inside the Facebook group. And also they'll be on YouTube, the ADHD Village YouTube channel. Let me know if you already subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'd love to know. Yeah, so whatever's going on live inside the group, like this call right now, it's going to stay inside. Okay, and then there's a guide section at the top. Let's see if I can find that for you. Yes, so see here where it says guides, so discussion and then guides. There's an old keep cool challenge. Don't get distracted by that right now. You can do that one later. There's some graphics in here. And then here we have Calming the ADHD Family Day 1. And there's the speaker threads from day 1. We're just working on moving all of that over. So if you're looking for the speaker threads, they will also be in the guide section. Now, the speaker threads are important for a couple reasons. One, that's how you can win prizes, which is really cool, but that's not the most important reason. The most important reason is it gets the conversation going in our group. It builds community in our group, inspiration, all of those beautiful things. So if you go to the search bar and type in day 2, and I think I did it with no spaces, the threads for today, day 2, should all come up. Oh, I've posted a bunch of times. Okay, there we go. Day 2, day 2. Oh, there we are. Oh, that's interesting. Why don't I see? I was hoping they'd all come up. Maybe I didn't hashtag them day 2. Let me try something else. Maybe I put a space. No. Okay, let me try one more thing. No. Okay, how about this? The speaker's name, because for sure that will come up. So one of our speakers from today, let's see who's on today, Elizabeth. So if I put Elizabeth's name in the search, there's her thread for today. Okay, so there's her graphic. There's a little bit about what the session's about, and there's some prompting questions in here. So if you've already watched Elizabeth's session, let me know. I'd love to know if you've already seen it. So what strategy will you try that will allow you to access your wise owl part of your brain? So that means your frontal lobe, where your executive functions take place. And then let us, how do you practice self-care and self-compassion? So again, that's something like what I talked about first thing, as I said, I did something that was loving for myself by, giving gratitude to the people who gave me my jewelry today. And then let us know if you'd love to take a course coached by Elizabeth and I together. We have something special in the works, so that will be coming, maybe in the new year in 2024. So let us know in those comments. So if you comment under these threads, it builds community. It inspires others. Like, you never know what you put in writing, like how it might impact somebody else. Also, if these are if you have these thoughts in your head, it's so much more powerful when you get it out into writing. You're much more likely to follow through. So if the question here is how do you practice self-care and self-compassion, you might think in your mind, oh, okay, well, I go for a walk every day. But if you put it in writing, I go for a walk every day, like it gives it a little bit more meaning, and also it will inspire others. It might give them ideas like, oh, that's a good idea. I could do that too. So I really encourage you to comment on the speaker threads. And oh, there's Elizabeth's from another time. She's so lovely. Okay. And then as you're doing that, my team's watching to see who comments on the threads. And when you do comment, they add your name to a draw to win prizes. We're drawing for Stephanie Pinto's book, From Chaos to Connection. We're drawing for a platinum VIP all access pass. We're drawing for private coaching calls with me. So there's lots of lovely prizes to be won. And the way you have a chance of winning is by participating, by commenting, by creating posts inside the group, and also by sharing on social media. Be sure to tag me, Laura Dawn, or the ADHD Village when you share, so I know that you've shared, so you can be added to the draw. And sharing is so important because that's how we get the word out there. That's how we link arms with other loving, caring humans who are parents and educators and therapists. This is how we shift the parenting paradigm. This is how we shift the way the world treats kids with ADHD. We do it together, we raise awareness, we offer strategies. So I'm so grateful for you for being here and for helping me to spread this important message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Olive Hickmott will be joining us very soon. Let me know in the comments if you've already seen Olive's session. That one aired yesterday. And I'm not seeing any comments coming up on my phone for some reason. Nope. And I'm not seeing any comments coming up. Oh, how do I get them? Bear with me for just a second. Oh no, I can't see your comments. Okay, that's okay. I'll keep going. I want to see your comments though. Oh, there they are. Yay! Hi, Mariah. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Carol. So glad you're here. Hi, CJ. Hello, hello. Okay, good. So I want to let you know what's coming up. So we're in day 2 today. So for day 2, you have your pre-recorded sessions that have gone to your email. We have this live session that's happening now for 2 hours. And then after the live session, if you have a VIP all access pass, we're going to be meeting on Zoom. So VIPs will be meeting on Zoom today at 2 o'clock and again tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern time. If you can't attend the live, that's okay. I'm recording the sessions and I will share those recordings with you. So not to worry. You'll get the same benefits, like in the same energy and the same strategies, whether you're in live or whether you're watching the recording. So not to worry. So tomorrow again, same time, same place in this Facebook group, we will be live from 11:30 to 1:30, and then the VIPs on Zoom at 2. Then Thursday's different. So on Thursday, there are no new interviews being released. Thursday morning is all about helping you keep your cool. So I'll be hosting my masterclass, how not to lose your cool, especially when your kids do. So in those moments when your kids are escalated, how do you stay calm so you can navigate the situation, so you can respond rather than react, so that you can use all these lovely strategies like getting curious and not furious, so that you can be a support and co-regulate your kids. And I'll be giving you some strategies on how to prevent those escalations from even happening and what to do in the heat of the moment. So that is on Thursday morning. Again, if you miss the live, it's okay. I will share the recording with you, so not to worry. Hi, Janice. Glad you could join today. Janice is the winner of our VIP Platinum Pass from yesterday. Congratulations, Janice. Hi, Sky. Oh my goodness, so glad you're watching. Hi, Tanya. Glad you're watching. Glad you got into the Facebook group. Yay. Okay, so then Thursday afternoon, if you have your VIP All Access Pass, we are going to be doing a brand new masterclass. It's called the Heart Brain Boot Camp. And I've got something really special planned for that afternoon. I'm really excited to share it with you. And I want to let you know now so you can plan. Bring something that you love to smell to that session. And I have something that I will be bringing. It is my adaptive essential oil, but you can bring anything. You can bring a flower, you can bring a cup of coffee if you love the smell of coffee or tea, or a favorite scented candle. But we're going to be doing something where we're associating the smell, like something that we love to smell, with some, anyway, I'll save that for Thursday. But this is a tip for everybody. Like, if you're doing some positive affirmations, if you're focusing on your glimmers, you can also smell something you love at the same time. And so you build that connection in your minds. Whenever you smell that smell, it's connected to something positive. So, you know, if you drink coffee every morning, while you're smelling the coffee and enjoying the smell and the taste of the coffee, you might want to do some affirmations like, I am loved, I am valued, I'm doing the best I can, like whatever affirmations that you like to say them while you're smelling that smell. Then anytime you smell coffee, you're going to have that association in your mind. I am loved, I am kind, I'm an amazing mom, like whatever it is. So we'll dive more into that on Thursday. Hi, Marie. So glad you're watching. Hi, Melanie. Glad you could make it. Hi, Jill from North Carolina. Okay, so that's Thursday's schedule. Then on Friday was going to be a day off, but I'm too excited about back to school. So we're going to have a little back to school workshop. It's 1 hour long on Friday. I have not put the time out yet. I need to schedule some things, but I'll put that out for Friday. And then I want to share some things that are coming up in the future, just so you can start thinking in case there's things that you would like to do. So after the workshop for back to school on Friday, I'm offering just a mini course. It's 3 modules, and it's the back to school special. So this is the perfect time of year. We're starting to get ready for back to school. Some of you may have already gone to back to school. Your kids have already gone back to school. So I will be sharing strategies so that you can have a really successful start to the school year, ways that you can collaborate with your child's teacher, and ways to build in self-advocacy for your child, no matter how old or how young they are. And I've got templates that I'll be sharing with you. I'm also going to be bringing in Sean McCormick from Executive Function Specialists. So his interview aired today, and I've already seen some really amazing positive feedback for Sean. So Sean will be joining us in this course as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm planning to meet with you again in 6 weeks' time. So after you've had a chance to implement the back to school strategies, your child's gone back to school, they've had a chance to try things out, we're going to reconnect and check in, see how things are going, and see where you need help and support. So this is a really, really valuable course, and it's going to be offered for $77, or if you are a Love You member or Warrior Mama, it's yours for free. So that is something to think about. Now, if you have a VIP All Access Pass, you already get 1 month support in the Love You Parenting membership for free. And after that, it's $33 a month. So if you don't have a pass and you decide to join the membership for $33 a month, you get that course. So that's incredible value. And I have another course coming in September. It's the Energetics of Motherhood. And again, it's 3 modules, $77 if you just want the course, or if you want to be in the membership for $33 a month, you get the course for free. So those are 2 beautiful courses that are going into the membership. Members get for free, or you can choose just to do the course or not at all. It's up to you, but I want to put that out there so you can start thinking about it. And already inside the membership is a 5 module course that I taught with Sarah Nicorak, and it's the whole basis, the Love You parenting technique, and that's the intensive course that's in there. So if you're already in the membership, be sure to take that course. Okay. Before we bring Olive on, yesterday in our Facebook group, you were sharing some gorgeous pictures of the outdoors. And I want to thank you so much for participating in this. Being outside really lights me up. And I said yesterday that I try to coach and teach outside as much as possible. I teach kindergarten, and my students are outside for 2/3 of the day. I try to do as much coaching as I can from outside. There's so many benefits to being outside, but it's raining here today. And I don't want my computer to get wet and break, so I'm inside. But I wanted to talk. Oh, do you remember I said I wanted to come back to something? Now I forgot what that was. Amanda, no, the 77 is American. Everything's in US dollars. That's like universal. There was something I wanted to come back to and now it's gone. That's okay. And now I forgot the other thing. Oh, my ADHD brain. Olive, I see you're watching. I'm so happy you're here. I'm going to bring you on in just a couple of minutes. So we were talking about the benefits of being outside, and it's raining. So I'm not outside right now because it's raining. And I just want you to notice your thoughts on a rainy day. What are your thoughts about it? And what are the thoughts that you share with your kids about a rainy day? Oh no, it's raining. We can't go outside. Oh yuck, it's raining. It's a gloomy day. Oh no, I didn't want it to rain. Like, Jill said, draw my infinity symbol. Yeah, that's the trick that I use to bring back things I've forgotten. So notice your thoughts around things like rainy days. Often it's a rainy day and we've connected that association, and it could be from when we were kids. Like when we were little, it might have been, you might have wanted to go out to play and your mom might have said, no, it's raining, you can't go outside. And so now every time it rains, your brain has this connection of, oh, it's raining and I'm disappointed and whatever else. So just notice, even though it's raining, you can still go outside and get the benefits of nature. And in fact, when you are outside in the rain, there are really incredible benefits when that water's in the air. Like there's health benefits to breathing in that wet air. So get outside, even on a rainy day, let your kids splash in the puddles, have fun. Both my kids are at camp today in the rain. I know my youngest one has indoor activities planned, but my oldest one, it's a completely outdoor camp. There's no indoor space, and they're playing in the rain. And I think they'll probably learn how to build some shelters or something. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing those beautiful, beautiful pictures of nature. If you haven't had a chance, scroll through the Facebook group and check out those pictures. They're really beautiful. And that brought so many glimmers of happiness. So that's a very simple way to find a glimmer of happiness, is look around you, especially at an outdoor space, and find the beauty around you. It makes it so much easier to cope with the chaos that comes with ADHD if you have found some glimmers in your day, if you have found some ways to fill your cup up and to bring some happiness to yourself. Okay. Hi, Megan. Hi, Laura. Oh, your kids love to wash the car on rainy days. That's fun. I wonder if they'd like to come wash my car. Hi, Geeta. Glad you're here. Okay, let's bring Olive on. So Olive's session aired yesterday. If you did not have a chance to see Olive yesterday, you can watch her session on the replay this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Or if you have a VIP All Access Pass, you can watch it anytime you want, and you can watch it again and again. Or if you're in the Love You Parenting membership, it's also in there. Hi, Olive.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's actually nice and sunny here.
Oh, is it? Oh, how lovely. Well, it's lovely here too, but it's just raining and lovely. So your session was incredible. For those who haven't seen your session, can you let us know a little bit about visualization? And before that, I'm sorry, I just assume everybody knows you because I know you so well. Maybe if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, letting us know a little bit about how you help families, and then we can dive into the visualization.
Yes,
and
certainly.
then questions. If you have questions for Olive, please pop them in the comments.
Yes, I would love to have questions.
Okay.
I'm what I call a forensic health and learning coach. So I take apart why people are struggling with literacy, with learning, with literacy, with health, and try and find ways to put it back together again so that it's much easier for them. And I started work in this arena 24 years ago when I discovered the NLP spelling strategy, and I went hang on a minute, I can't do that. So how on earth am I going to learn how to do that? Because my spelling and reading was terrible. And so I went into my local special needs school and said, have you got any children who are struggling with literacy? I think I've got something that might help them. And they said, we've got hundreds, which ones do you want? So that was where the journey started. And since then, I've gone on to ADHD and autism, but with this continuous thing about mental imagery. And you want me to explain mental imagery, don't you? These are the pictures you hold in your head. So if I say, think of a cat, you should get a picture of a cat in your head, or a dog, or an elephant, or a giraffe, whatever you fancy. So those are the pictures you hold in your head. Now, when we are small people, we have thousands of pictures in our head. In point of fact, there's been some research done by NASA, which concluded that 98% of 4-year-olds were creative geniuses. And so what happens to it during school time, though, is that by the time they become adults, it may only be 2% of adults are creative geniuses. And so what's happening? And the reason is, if it's one of those usual things, if we don't use it, we lose it. And so I have specialized in working with neurodivergent kids who have got, in my experience, exceptional mental imagery. And the whole challenge is that we aren't teaching them in a way that works with their exceptional mental images. So they diverge from the norm, but they've got these fabulous skills. And these fabulous skills are needed when they become adults in the workplace. We need creativity, we need imagination, we need innovation, problem solving, intuition, people who can see a better way of doing things, the typical system busters. Now, if you're 6-year-old and you're a system buster, you're not going to be too popular in school. But by the time you've become an adult, you might be able to see fantastically better ways of doing things. So that's what I specialize in. And I call them 21st century diverse thinking skills. And I have so far catalogued 35 of them. And if I ask any child, and I asked one recently who was only 8, which ones of these applied to him, which was creativity and imagination, etc. And he came up with 26 of them. Fantastic set of skills. And we do not want our children to lose these. And I was thinking earlier today, because I was listening to one of your presenters, and you were talking about ADHD students being, I think you said 30% behind other students. And I went, what's that in though? Maybe they're 30% behind in literacy because they're struggling with it or something, but they're not 30% behind in these fantastic skills. It is just a question of what we measure. So my message to parents would always be, look for the strengths and focus on the strengths and see what happens then.
And that is really, really powerful, Olive. This is the advice that we're hearing from psychiatrists in the field. We're hearing from Dr. Edward Hallowell, Dr. Kenny Handelman. They're both psychiatrists. They've both written books. And that's what they're saying, focus on the strengths. And that's so powerful for many reasons. One is the energy as parents that we're giving towards our child. If we're just focusing on the things they're struggling with and trying to fix that, that feels really yucky for them. And also, and from an energetics point of view too, like, do we want to spend all of our thoughts on worrying and fretting about what they're not good at? Like, that feels yucky for everybody. So what are these? Did you say 36?
Yeah.
What give us some examples. I know you said a few, but I need a few more.
For example, problem solving, intuition, creativity, imagination, innovation, seeing things from different perspectives. So that might be in an argument. If you're having a discussion with somebody, they come out with a completely different view of the world than the view you've got. It might be something physical. So, for example, can you imagine your car from the front or from the back or from the top or from the bottom? You know, those are different perspectives again. And you can, I mean, I have a free webinar if anybody wants to come on it for precisely this, because I have recently something came across my desk, which was that dyslexia is your superpower. And I go, no, not quite. What's your superpower is all these fantastic visual skills that are sitting underneath dyslexia. And so don't get them to focus on dyslexia being their superpower. What you want to do is focus on creativity or imagination or innovation. And I'm really worried about school because although I'm a big fan of school teachers and the education, I'm not a fan of the fact that we are losing these wonderful skills during school time. And it may be that we just are not focusing on them, or it might be that, for example, if a child is doing a brilliant Lego design and they've got all the bricks in place and then the school bell rings and they have to leave the classroom, what does that say to the child? That actually says to them, without saying a word, well, what you're doing isn't important. What we've got to do is make sure they really feel valued at these exceptional skills that they've got, and then they'll keep them. They will, not only you will focus on them, they will focus on them as well.
What other tips do you have for how teachers can help kids hang on to these beautiful skills, creativity, innovation?
I think I start with mental imagery, really, because what you have to do is understand these kids have got fantastic pictures in their head. At 4 years old, they are full of mental images in their head. And you can tell that. I mean, any parent of a 4-year-old will probably know they were ridiculously creative when they were 4, and to absurdity almost. And so that's the place to start. But we need to teach teachers how to teach visual children, because it's not the same as the way they're teaching at the moment, which is auditory sequential teaching. We need them to be able to teach visually to visual children. I spend a lot of time talking about teaching literacy visually, which is really easy to teach, but isn't taught in school. And that's about, and anybody in the audience can actually try this out for themselves. If you go to spell the word giraffe, how many R's and how many F's? And you can just answer that for yourself. You don't have to come back to us. But if you see the word in your imagination, you will know it's 1 R and 2 F's. Whereas if you're trying to do it phonetically, it's not going to help you an awful lot with a word like giraffe. So what we encourage people to do is to talk about pictures. Just talk about your children's mental images, because nobody else talks about them. So when they come home from school, ask them what they did today, and then you can ask them some more details about it, and you'll probably see their eyes go up to the ceiling. And they will, and that because they're looking at their pictures. Your pictures are up there, your auditory is when your eyes go sideways, and your emotions are when your eyes go down. And a really good tip for teachers, if you've got a child who's unhappy, don't let them look down. Get them to look up.
Okay, you just had like so many gold nuggets there, and I was trying to write them all down, and now they're gone from my brain. So the eyes go up because that's where the mental images are.
The eyes go sideways when they're doing listening or speaking, and the eyes go down when they're in their emotions. And these kids have got not great emotions normally. They're normally feeling pretty annoyed with themselves for not being as good as they want to be. Or the other thing that is down is your internal dialogue. So if you've got a little voice in your head that says, you're rubbish at this, then that's where you're going to access it. So if you can organize it, get them to write looking up. I mean, I get kids to stick a piece of paper on the wall and write on the wall. Very simple. It gets them out of their emotions. I had one little lad who had not written anything in about 6 months in class. And his learning assistant, I taught his learning assistant, and she said to him, would you like to go and write on the flip chart? And she thought he'd never get out of his seat. But no, he marched up to the front of the class and started writing on the flip chart. And she went, that's amazing. Just because he's not sitting there in his negative emotions, thinking he's stupid or whatever.
Yeah, kids love writing on the chart paper. It's exciting. Now, you said something too. I want to just go back because I want to make sure I understood. When they come home from school, you want to know what mental images were in their mind. What is it that you say to them?
Just say to them, what was today like? And, ask them about what was going on in class and watch their eyes. If they're looking up, they're probably recalling pictures. And you can ask them what the teacher was wearing or something like that. Or what did you make in class today? Anything like that, that will actually get them recalling their pictures. And I mean, when a student comes to see me, I'll do something like, what's your favorite teddy bear? Or what's your favorite dog? And what do they look like? And you can see them picturing it in their imagination. And so you just watch them. And they normally, these kids, I mean, when they're 4 years old, they have got fantastic mental images. So what we want to do is to encourage them to keep those mental images, keep using them for different things, and not get confused by them. And one of the ways to not get confused by them, by the way, is to get grounded. I'm sure in your community, you know about grounding. Grounding is so, so important. The more you get grounded, the stiller the pictures will be. And do you ever have people talking about breathing in you do in your class? Do they talk about breathing in and out through your nose?
Well, I talk about it now all the time because I learned from you, but let us know about why we should be breathing in and out through our nose and not, because often it's like breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. That's what I often hear. So let us know why we should be breathing in and out through our nose.
First thing about breathing in through your nose is that at the back of your nose, you have got nasal passages that clean up the air, hydrate the air, humidify the air, and add nitric oxide in small quantities. And that's really important to make a good job of cleaning up the air. In COVID land, by the way, it's even more important that we breathe in through our nose, because if we breathe in through our mouth, we're not going to get any of that cleaning going on. So that's in through your nose. You then want to breathe right down into your belly. So your belly pops out really slightly, which means that you're moving into your sympathetic nervous system. Sorry, parasympathetic nervous system. So you're moving into a more relaxed state. And then you want to breathe out through your nose because of the following. Right, I'll give you. The oxygen you breathe in goes round your body in blood vessels, and it needs to get out of the tubes into every cell of your body. So what happens is that if you've got enough carbon dioxide in your bloodstream as well as oxygen, you will oxygenate every cell of your body. So that means your muscles, your tendons, your internal organs, and your brain. If you breathe out too much, like the old-fashioned, if you're having a panic attack, you breathe out into a paper bag sort of thing, that's because you're breathing out carbon dioxide and you're breathing it in again. So you're keeping more carbon dioxide in your blood vessels. Now, the really cool trick is that if you don't oxygenate your brain well enough, your brain goes faster. So those poor old mental images that we've been looking after, when you get stressed, may start to get scrambled all over the place. And if we're breathing through our mouth, then it'll happen even faster.
Let me make sure I understand this. So we breathe out through our nose because
No,
that
in through our
oxygenates.
no,
Oh,
in and out through our nose. Sorry, yes,
okay.
you're right. You're right.
Okay. So that oxygenates our brain, which slows our brain down, which allows
Yep.
us to hold on to those mental images.
Yep.
Okay.
It's really simple and it doesn't cost a fortune. It's just a bit of practice.
Don't
But
you love it when there's free things that we can do?
but if you look at if you look at a person who's diagnosed with ADHD, you'll probably see they're a mouth breather. So many of them are. I did a conference during lockdown on airways in America, and they came out with a wonderful statistic just in passing through the middle of this conference, that they said, I think it was 60 to 70% of ADHDers are mouth breathers. And nobody's telling the parents or the teachers, as far as I know.
I don't think anyone really makes that connection.
No.
This is fairly new for me. I mean,
So
I've learned it from you before, but it's new. Yeah.
This is why I'm such a jigsaw puzzle person. I put all these bits and pieces together and go, that's the answer.
Okay, I'm going to start reading some of the comments, all of that have been coming in. And just before I
please do.
Parents, I would love for you, this is really good for your brain. Write in the comments, what are some of your child's strengths? So Olive mentioned some of the beautiful strengths kids with ADHD have. They're imaginative, they're creative, like out of the box thinkers and problem solvers. And so go ahead, let's fill up this chat with all sorts of strengths. And these are like, this goes along the line with glimmers. Like we want to be focusing on these strengths. And
Right.
I noticed a few comments coming in saying that people don't like when ADHD is called their superpower or dyslexia is called their superpower. Like, doesn't that feel like we struggle with those things, right? These are challenges, and it's, well, I'll read to you what Amanda wrote.
I totally agree. I don't want to call ADHD or dyslexia your superpower. Richard Branson, who I'm sure you know of, is done videos recently calling it his superpower. And I'm going, no, it's not your superpower. What's your superpower is the strengths that are sitting underneath it. And it's really important because you get to the other group. So you've got a non-dyslexic in front of you, okay? And they can have some of these amazing visual creative skills as well, but they don't have to be dyslexic.
And it goes along with the idea that we need to put the supports in place. We need to have the accommodations. We need to help build on the lagging skills and help regulate the nervous system and take care of all of those things. And then the strengths can shine through. Amanda wrote, I see ADHD as my superpower, and it is so icky, like when people say that. It implies it is all positive when it certainly isn't. I'd choose 0 ADHD over supposed superpowers. So Amanda, thank you for sharing that. Okay, here's a question coming in from Laura. How do you help that 6-year-old system buster? We struggle with sleep, focus, and self-regulation.
Right. That's quite an
That's a big question.
Exactly. I would first of all look at breathing. I mean, this is what I do with all ADHD students that I bump into. I start with breathing. Are they breathing in and out through their nose, right down into their bellies so that they are relaxed? Or are they breathing in and out through their mouth? And then it's the challenges, which most parents find a bit of a challenge, but they'll get the hang of it, is to model for their children breathing in and out through their nose, and encourage them when they're awake to breathe in and out through their nose. And then it may well migrate into when they're asleep. With sleep, there is, I've got lots of YouTubes on this, but with sleep, it's really important that you set a routine and you stick to it, because you have to reset your child's circadian rhythms And so it's really important that you're doing the same thing every night. I had a child who didn't sleep for the first 2 years approximately. Well, he did sleep, but he woke up every half an hour and screamed. He absolutely hated it. And we made a really big mistake, which I will share with you. We put him to bed with music on. And during the night, what happens to you during the night is you nearly wake up as an adult, every 90 minutes, and as a child, about every half an hour. So you go down into deep sleep, then you come up again, then you go down again. Now, if everything is the same when you come up after being in deep sleep, if it's the same, you go down again and you don't know about it. If something is different, you'll wake up and complain. So what was happening was my son's music had finished. And so after half an hour, he would wake up and go, panic, the world is different. Why is it different? It's not right. And scream at me. And he got himself, and as the night went on, he would get worse and worse because he would get more and more stressed and more lacking in sleep. And so contact me you're more than welcome to, for topics on sleep. It's really important to get them to sleep. And as I say, on my YouTube channel, you'll find some short videos about it to help you get started. But the world has to be the same. When it's like, quite often people will put child to bed with the light on and then switch it off when they go to bed. That means it's all different in the middle of the night.
That is super helpful. Sorry, I'm just typing down some of the things you're saying. What's the name of your YouTube channel so we can find you?
Olive Hickmott.
Sorry?
Olive Hickmott.
Okay, so your name.
Yeah.
That's easy. Okay. All right, so that's the YouTube channel. Awesome. There was a few more questions coming in. I'd love to ask. Let's see. Okay, so this is from Megan. How do we help kids who cannot see pictures in their head because they have, hang on.
Aphantasia.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. How did you know? How did you know that?
Because people ask me that from time to time.
What is aphantasia?
It means you have no pictures in your head.
Okay, so
but it's actually been medicalized. Now, if it's a child, I mean, let's go back a bit. When you're 6 weeks old in the UK, and it's probably roughly the same in the US, you go into the health visitor and they give them a check over and they ask you whether your child smiles at you. And the reason they're smiling at you is because they recognize you. So they have a picture in their head of you. And if you wear a pink curly wig one day, for example, they'll probably cry because that doesn't match the picture they've got in their head. Now, that's where it starts at 6 weeks old. And as you go through life, they should just develop and get better and better. There is a condition called aphantasia, and it's been medicalized as being a big problem. And I'm not certain about it because I have met people. Actually, I'll give you an example. I lost my pictures for years. And I had very, very vivid, very scary pictures when I was a small child. And I didn't have my pictures back again until I was in my 40s, because my brain had just gone, oh, you don't like those, Olive, we'll get rid of those. That's fine, we'll get rid of those. Whereas now, if you get a scary picture, we've got really simple techniques like EFT and energetic NLP, where you can just get rid of the pictures you don't like. You don't have to get rid of everything, which is the best way to do it. And I got my pictures back. I run webinars for people, which are free for people to try and get their pictures back, because most times they've just mislaid them. And I've had people go from no pictures to, in 60 minutes this is, to a realization that they have got when they were doing their A-levels, they had a photographic memory, would you believe? And then the girl came up with, by the time we got to the end of the session, she went, I've got my pictures back. Thank you very much. And all we'd done was talk about the pictures for 60 minutes.
Wow.
So that's my best tip on aphantasia. I think it was Meg, wasn't it? You're welcome to come back to me, and we'll see what we can do to help them. But I mean, it is really a problem if you really haven't got pictures. Normally, it's a question of expectation. I mean, most people will recognize their own parents, you know, so they actually have got pictures. But sometimes they feel they should have beautiful, you know, 3D color pictures, and actually they've only got black and white boring ones, you know, but they're all pictures. Any more questions?
Oh my goodness, there's lots of comments coming in. I think, let me just double check. I think that's all the questions, but lots of incredible comments. This was very, very much appreciated, Olive. I'll be keeping this session in the ADHD Village and adding it to my YouTube channel so we can go back and watch again and again. I find I learn so much every single time I talk to you. And even if you're telling me the same thing that I've heard you tell me before, it just, it helps to hear it again and think about it again. So thank you so much, Olive. I'm so grateful for you.
That's a pleasure. I mean, did you say it's on in the ADHD Village?
Yes.
Okay, on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I can go on there and respond to the comments.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Olive.
It's a delight.
Thank you. Let's give Olive a whole bunch of hearts to show her our love and our gratitude. Let's get those hearts going. And I'm seeing lots of thank you, thank you, thank you. Deanna said she learned a lot. Thank you. Jana said that you really explained about the resetting every nighttime. Now she understands what was going on. So thank you, thank you.
Right. After my son did this to me 37 years ago, I sympathize with anybody.
Amazing. And I love all the love that's being sent to Olive. Thank you. Let's keep the love going as we bring Sonali in. I don't know if you've met Sonali yet, Olive, have you?
I don't think so. Was she into one of today's?
Her session will be airing tomorrow.
Oh, okay. No, because I haven't.
But you can have a chance to say hello to her before you leave. She's just logging in. Hello, Sonali.
Hi,
hello,
Laura.
Sonali.
Hello. Hi.
I wanted to give you a chance to meet Olive. Sonali hosts one of her own beautiful summits. Maybe you can let us know about your summit, because I'm sure Olive and Sonali, you're going to love to connect and collaborate with each other in the future. So I wanted to let you have a chance to meet.
Very good.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you.
And you. And I will gently disappear, stage right, and enjoy your time together.
Thank you. Thank you, Olive.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Sonali. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
Good. Let us know in the comments if you already know who Sonali is, if you already follow her, maybe you've already seen some of her work. Let us know in the comments. Or if Sonali is brand new to you in your world, write the word new so we can get excited for the treat you're about to experience as you meet Sonali. I know every time I talk to you, Sonali, I feel inspired and I feel like hopeful, and I have a sense of calm because you have such a way, like your voice is just so, I just love talking to you.
Thank you. Now I'm blushing. I love talking to you too. Because I think you and I commented on this before. It just really feels good when we both have missions and we both care deeply about supporting parents and families and kids. And when we connect in that mission, it creates an amazing space. And so thank you, Laura, for creating this space. And thank you, parents, for being here and allowing us to get to be with you too.
Oh my goodness. Sonali, let everybody know a little bit about yourself and how you help families.
Absolutely. So what I like to say is I was that kid and I have 3 of those kids. And what I mean is that I'm highly sensitive, I'm highly sensitive and I have highly sensitive kids. And my sensitivity when I was a kid, I expressed it by shutting down, by people pleasing, by playing it small, by doing what everybody else wanted. And then I had those kids that they would have none of that. They knew who they are, they know what they wanted. And at the beginning of a relationship, it was this clash. And so it wasn't until I had stopped trying to parent somebody else's way and start really sinking into what is it that I need and my family needs, that things started to shift. And so that's what I support parents in doing, and coming into that space where we're together aligned, where instead of what is everybody else doing and what is everybody else like, you need to do this, into what is it that you genuinely need. And a lot of us, so in our conversation, I was talking about sibling relationships, which is it's a passion point of mine, because I was that kid. I have a physical disability. I'm legally blind and I have albinism. And so I grew up in a family of Indian origin, so very brown, and with a disability that affected my vision and also how I show up in the world. And then I have those kids that are neurodivergent that show up differently in the world. And so we've had a lot of these experiences where what I believe is that we all have the same core needs, just some of us have non-traditional ways of getting those needs met. And so that's why it's really important to stay in that question of what is it that we need. So I'm the founder of Forward Together Parenting. I run a summit annually called Raising Your Strong-Willed Child. That'll be coming out at the end of August. And I have a membership community called The Cove, and my signature course, Breakthrough Parenting Program. So that was a mouthful, Laura.
Lovely. Oh my goodness. So as you were talking, there were so many things that came up for me that I wanted to dive into. So one of the things was, at the very beginning of my call, I had said, oh, this is something important. Remind me, I need to come back to this point. And then I forgot about it. And now it just came back now. And that is, you are participating right now, parents, in a summit with 33 experts in the field. Just because we're experts in the field doesn't mean that you need to follow anything that we're saying, because you are the expert in your family, of your child. So like Sonali said, you have to do what works for you. So you can listen to what we're saying and you can think, yeah, that feels really good. I'm aligning with that I want to try that. Or you can think that doesn't work well for me and my family. I'm not doing that. Like that doesn't feel good. You decide, because you are the expert of your family. And I think that helps, because you can watch all of these sessions and then you have pages and pages of notes and you think, oh, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And that is overwhelming. It is stressful, and you don't want to parent from that place. So you get to decide, what feels good to you. So I'm glad that you shared that story, Sonali, that you started off your parenting doing, the way you thought you should be doing it, the way everybody else was. And then you decided to tune in to the needs of your own family and do what works best for you and
what
your
works
family.
for us. Yeah. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's great information when you hear an expert share something and it resonates, awesome. When you hear an expert share something and it doesn't resonate, awesome, because you just got clearer on what your path is. So it doesn't have to be that you do everything. It's really finding what aligns for you. What is it that you genuinely need? And so, yeah, love that, Laura.
And then you mentioned that you're a highly sensitive person, and let us know if you are a highly sensitive person too. Put HS in the comments, or if you have a highly sensitive kid, put HS kid in the comments. Let us know, like, if it's something you're relating to. If you don't know if you are, put a question mark in the comments. Today, there's a session by Melissa, who is a highly sensitive person, and her mom, Sandra. And their session is it is so interesting to watch them together. So they're letting you know from a mother-daughter perspective how you can support highly sensitive children. So Melissa shares her stories and things her mother did that was great, and things her mom did that was not so great, and what you can do to support highly sensitive people. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of people saying that they're highly sensitive themselves and their kids are highly sensitive. I saw some comments, Sonali, that people watched you on the ADHD Palooza and absolutely loved you. So they're pretty excited to see you here. Wow. So lots of what can you tell us what is highly sensitive, in case people don't know what that means?
To me, so I say that I support highly sensitive parents of strong-willed kids, which is really we're all highly sensitive, strong-willed parents of highly sensitive, strong-willed kids, which is parents who feel different, who have kids who feel different. So to me, highly sensitive means that we feel deeply. It's easy for us to pick up on the energies in a room. And that is not a negative or a positive. It's simply who we are. So it serves me really well when I'm coaching because I can feel into what the other person is experiencing. And at the same time, like it took me training with myself to, when I'm in crowded spaces, to say, oh, okay, separate, like find my boundary and allow myself to be like, okay, that's this space and this is me, and noticing what my needs are. So highly sensitive, I think highly sensitive, sometimes it can be sensory sensitive externally for some of us, and also sensitive internally to the feelings as well. And I oftentimes see those two go together. So if we're deep feelers, sometimes we're often also very sensory sensitive. So for some of us who are highly sensitive parents, when a child is screaming, it can create ringing in our ears, and that could hurt. And so that's why, like, the parenting advice might say, okay, just hold that space and listen. But if you're highly sensitive and it's dysregulating for you, and your ears ringing actually leaves you in a dysregulated state, it won't support you and your child. So that's a bit about high sensitivity.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think maybe as people are watching, they might realize, oh, maybe I am highly sensitive. I'm going to invite everyone who's watching to go ahead and write. If you have questions for Sonali, this is your chance to interact and engage with Sonali and ask her your questions. Sonali's session will be airing tomorrow, so I highly encourage everybody to watch this session. And it is like jam-packed full of value. She gets into a lot of the sibling conflicts and how you can build sibling relationships. And she talks about a really special way that you can do more than just help kids feel listened to, heard to, valued, like what else you can do to take it even further. Yeah, so it's so much incredible value. And actually the session with Sonali that's airing tomorrow, Sonali, we recorded that session almost a year ago because you came into my Warrior Mama, which is my signature coaching program. And so around the time that you came in, we brought Jennifer Kalari in as well. A lot of the Warrior Mamas, that was something they were struggling with, was siblings and the fighting between the siblings and the jealousy between the siblings, and parents just feeling guilty about giving so much attention to their high needs kid while not giving any attention to the other kid, or the other kid was kind of left on their own to figure things out. So lots of those issues were coming up in Warrior Mama. So when that happens, of course, I'm coaching you through those sorts of things, but then to deepen our conversation and to bring in new perspectives, I bring in experts into the group. So Sonali, you are one of those experts. So if the recording with Sonali and with Jennifer look a little bit different than the other recordings, that's because it was part of a Warrior Mama group coaching call. So Warrior Mamas, I had to cut them out to protect their privacy. So it might be a little choppy. That's because there was a Warrior Mama on screen asking questions, but just wanted to explain that. So any questions that you have for Sonali, now is your chance to ask. So go ahead and put those in the comments. And while I'm waiting for some comments to come in, oh, hi, Sarah. Sarah is one of our beautiful presenters, and yesterday Sarah's session aired. You'll be able to catch her session again on the replay on the weekend. And if you are an educator, you definitely want to watch Sarah's session. Okay, so Mercedes has a question for you, Sonali.
Hi, Mercedes.
How do you help your older kiddo who might resent their younger sibling for needing so much and getting so much attention? We do special time with the older kids, but it's not enough for her.
Yeah, and I think this is a really important topic. So your older child resents the younger child, right?
Yeah.
So this is that jealousy, and I'm just writing it down. And this is why, and so noticing what that does is it hurts their relationship in both ways, because the younger child can feel that, the older child feels that, right? So they resent the younger child for needing more attention, more time. What we want to do, so the process that I shared in the recording that you'll see tomorrow is my Schwab process. And like I mentioned, there's more than just see, hear, understanding. See, hear, understanding is the SHU. That brings in acceptance. What we want to bring are the A's and the V's. That's approve of, acknowledge, agree with, not with what they're saying, but that their feelings are valid. Align with, which is a sense of belonging. Agree, approve, align, acknowledge, appreciate, value, validate, which brings a sense of this is important, that it matters, and that you're impactful, that you have impact. When we have those, the A's and the V's are what take us from the acceptance of the SHU into the receiving of a child's experience. And that's what we want to bring to your older child, is a receiving of their experience. When we have that, then we have the empowerment step. So that's when they feel motivated internally. They have that desire, okay, they can let it go. Right now, they're feeling resentful. It's a valid feeling. So you want to bring some approval of that and some acknowledgement of it. Start with the acknowledgement. Like, that makes a lot of sense. You do see that I go to this appointment, and instead of a judgment on it, just validate their experience. You see me go to these appointments and it takes a couple hours a day, or whatever it might be. And you can bring some curiosity to what their experience is. What is that like for you? And I'm really glad that you're letting me know this, because of course you feel that it's different, because it is different. So we're validating that for them too. So we brought acknowledgement and validation for what their experience is. And we're not saying, so sometimes what we as parents can feel when we have one child that has different needs is that, oh, we need to keep making up for the time that we have with the other child. And really what we want to do is acknowledge, yeah, I do spend time there. And, and it is different how we spend time together. That's true. We want to make that a safe experience instead of it being something that we feel like, and I'm doing this gesture because it's like we have to climb out of it and compensate for it. And sometimes we think, okay, I might need to do special time every day to compensate for it. But as long as we're trying to compensate for something, our child is going to feel that energy. And that's the energy of like scarcity, like something's missing, I have to make up for something. And what we instead want to let them know is that, like, yeah, of course, I've got those things and I want to be with you. You're important and they're important. And so I'm glad that you're bringing this up. One of the things that, and one of the things that I find is really supportive when there is a time difference allocated to kids is that time is about intimacy, into me you see. So we want time because what we actually want is that deep seeing of us and that deep connection with us and a parent. So sometimes having in a stability structure, I call them love bombs, because they're like in just a couple seconds, you can feel your love for your child in your body and your child can feel it too. And setting up that on a day, like it's stable, it's the same thing, you do it every day with your older child. And I don't know how old is your child, Mercedes?
I'll wait for that comment to come in.
Okay. But I have with each one of my kids a different thing that I do with them. That's pretty much daily. And it's one of those things where, because it's on repeat and because it activates a felt sense of love in my body and their body, it brings that intimacy that we seek. So we might not have that time, but we have that intimacy. So with my middle son, it's a game where when I put him to bed, he'll say, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. And I'll say, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. And I say, okay, I win. That I said more love yous. And he's like, love you, love you. And I'm like, love you, love you. And then he's like, no, I win. And I'm like, okay, fine, you win tonight, but tomorrow night I win. And then he says, you always say that. And in that moment, we both feel that connection. So maybe we had 5 minutes together today doing something. Maybe we had 2 hours. That 30 seconds at the end of the day is where we have that connection, that deep intimacy. And so setting up something like that with your older child, where he knows that he's treasured and adored and appreciated and approved of, and that and he can feel that in his body, that I'm sensing might be his core need. Okay, I did a lot of talking.
Thank you. Thank you. So
What did
Mercedes'
you say?
oldest child is 8 years old, and she said, "Oh, this is totally amazing." So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and so it doesn't have to be like a great big amount of time. Like maybe you're spending 2 hours with the one child doing appointments or calming down a meltdown. Doesn't mean that you have to spend that 2 hours with your other child. It could be something really short and special and meaningful, that just like that little love you game. And also, I love that you do that at bedtime, because the most important time that you can spend with your kids is first thing in the morning, just a couple minutes, right before bed for a couple minutes, and right after school, those couple minutes. So those 3 times. And if you can just infuse a little bit of Sonali's love bombs in those times, like that will go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that point that you made, that when you've just spent 2 hours on an appointment, you don't need to give 2 hours, Laura. That was a really important point, because Mercedes, you don't have 2 hours to give either, because you're probably coming home tired or needing to cook dinner or something else, or needing a pause for yourself. And that's really important to recognize as well.
Okay, next question coming in from Chris. I have twins that are so opposite of each other and do not get along, but they are both highly sensitive and have impulse control issues. One twin takes everything as a negative, so RSD, which mom also has. So it's hard to help him because it's hard for me as well. Any help with RSD and how to help in this situation for myself and for my child?
Okay, so yes, and I love this question. And highly sensitive mom, highly sensitive kids, and so sometimes it can feel like, oh my gosh, which one is going to go? Like we're all feeling on edge. Here's a one-liner that I like to use when, let's say, something happens between the twins, and the one gets upset, the other one gets upset. What happens internally for them is they feel like they're in opposition to each other, opposite positions. So that's that conflict. And what we can say is, oh, that didn't go how either of you wanted, did it? And that brings us together, because both of them are kind of like, oh yeah, that didn't. And so that can offer a soothe. And that's that being that need. I mentioned alignment in Schwab. So that alignment is a sense of belonging. Instead of them being on like fighting with each other, now they're on the same team, like, oh yeah, that isn't how I wanted it to go. And when we've got, think about rejection sensitivity and if you have that as well, then we're struggling with, like, maybe the no is a really challenging space, right? So your child hearing a no, or your child saying no can be challenging for both of you. And so what we want to do is, instead of fearing that no, and inside our bodies might tense up, we're worried about saying no, we're worried about hearing no from them. I'm just coming up with this example on the spot, is we want to come under and receive the no. The opposite energy of rejection is receiving. So I like to call it to make it, you can make it a game if that resonates for you and your child, or we can talk about other ways to do that. But the game that I use, I call it the no game. And the way that it works is, and here's an example of, this was from a couple of years ago during COVID, but I shared this with, that was the example that I use when I explained the no game. So it was over the first COVID lockdown that I was managing my business and with my 3 kids. I'm a single parent, and I had reached a point where I didn't want to cook dinner. And so I had said, okay, that's it, guys, kitchen closed. We're not eating. Or no, what did I say? I think I had said, yeah, it's something like that. That's it, kitchen closed. Like I'm not cooking anything. And they're like, Mom, but what about this? No. What about in 5 minutes? No. I'm like, and I said, I have 457 no's in me. Ask me again. Come on, ask me again. Mom, but what, could we have toast? No eating. No. And then finally my, like, they're laughing and they're having a good time and they're coming up one at a time bringing in like, oh, but what about waffles? No, no cooking. No, I'm not going to do it. And they're cracking up. And then at the end, my oldest had been like, how about we just make it like, I can make eggs. I'll get the pan out, Mom, and turn on the stove. And so it was a game that allowed me to discharge that energy. There genuinely was a part of me that was done and didn't want to do any cooking. And there was also a part of me that knew that I was going to need to make something that day. So the louder part of me needed to say no. The quieter part of me knew that I needed to be realistic and I was going to cook something. And so letting them come to me, and it can be something where maybe they come to ask you for candy, and you can play the no game. Or if you're asking them what book they want to read that night and you bring them a book and they say no, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this one. And they say no. This is how you can use the no game in reverse and be like, do you want to do that thing where I bring you books and you tell me no? Let's do it. And so that way, instead of you fearing their no and it being a tense spot, you can then say, how about this one? No. Thought you might say that. How about this one? No. Yeah. Okay. How about this one? No. We're on a roll. And then eventually, because we're receiving the no, we're not pushing it away. Our child will be like, actually, I want this one. They relax and we relax. How does that land for you?
That's so good. And making it playful, right? Like something that you're fearful of, like finding a way to turn it into play.
Right, because that, like when we really fear like that somebody's saying no to us or rejecting us or pushing us away, turning that into a playful experience. So for like older kids, for teenagers that like to shut their door, it can be things like that like to tend to shut down and might not want as many hugs or kind of more aloof. One of the games that a parent that I support used was, I call it the connection threat, where this teenager's door was open a little bit and they went up to the door and they're like, hey, just so you know, if I feel a hug coming on and you've got about 3 seconds to shut that door or I get to hug you. And and their son went, fake shut the door, then opened it, put his arms out, hugged him, and went back in the room and shut the door. But he got to play with that, oh, I'm going to pretend to shut the door. So the energy of rejection.
So fun. So fun. Yeah. That's so cute. And I love that you brought up about playing with the teenagers. Like they love it. They might act like they don't love it and Mom, stop it. And don't treat me like a baby, but they really do eat it up. Like, so have fun with it. Like try some of these things with your teenagers and just watch how they react.
they want it. They're just having this conflict between a need to individuate and a need for belonging, and they don't know where to go with it. And so it's, if we can come under those two and have some fun with it, and this is that part where you tell me to go away. Oh, well, now it's not as much fun, is it? And yeah, you can have some fun with that. Yeah.
Okay, there's another question coming in, and we just have a couple of minutes, Sonali, before Nicole joins us. But Sonali's session will be airing tomorrow, and this is definitely one that you'll want to tune in for. Drop some hearts for Sonali now if you are loving this conversation. And I feel like people are going to want to go back and watch this again. So this will stay in the Facebook group. I'll add it to my YouTube channel so you can watch it again and again. Like Sonali is a wealth of information. Look at all the hearts coming in. Okay, there's a question from Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Where do you do the work on yourself? So those situations that dysregulate yourself, not dysregulate your child even more. How do you handle having two very close kids that are both highly sensitive? So she's got kind of two questions in there. How do you do the work for yourself? And when you have two kids who are highly sensitive?
Okay. And how do you handle it when you've got, so like all the energy and the emotion that comes up when you've got two kids that are highly sensitive? Okay. Both of these, there's a part of me that wants to, that I wish there were a 30-second answer here. And I feel like there's also a part of me that wants to be like, this is a practice. As much as we want to, like these interviews, and Laura, you know this, they inspire, they can give you a ping in one direction, but it's actually parenting I see as a practice. And for us, that like recognizing where we are, a lot of for those of us that are highly sensitive, we may be sensitive to a variety of different things, like somebody's tone. For me, I'm very tone sensitive. Because I'm visually impaired, I depend a lot on someone's tone. So I pick up a lot in someone's tones. I'm very tone sensitive. And I'm also sound sensitive. I'm also light sensitive. I'm all sorts of different, physically sensitive and then internally sensitive. So a lot of the work for those of us that are highly sensitive is actually around boundaries. And that can sound, boundaries are related to what is it that we need in a moment. Because we may have had it told to us, oh, well, it's fun to go out to this loud, crowded place. But internally, our body gets dysregulated. And so starting to notice that need, and then notice what we're like, oh, but I want to go out to that place because I value my friends. Of course I do. So connecting our experience to our values. Connecting, and then, oh, and I need to, like when I'm out in places like that, I need to limit it to 20 minutes because I also recognize that I value, like I notice my body gets dysregulated. So connecting it to your values and your needs and your emotions can make these experiences safer. And that's a lot of the work for those of us that are sensitive, is how can we make it safe for us to have these needs? And how can we say that our need isn't us, you know, like we may have told ourselves things like, oh, if I don't make this 3-course meal for dinner, that means I'm not a good mom. I'm ordering pizza for my family tonight for dinner because I value simplicity and order. Or because I'm ordering pizza for my family for dinner tonight because I value bringing rest into my home. And so connecting it to your values allows that experience to be a bit safer and bring some safety for us. So that's one of the things connected to your values and your needs. Our boundaries allow us to, our boundaries are actually about hearing our heart and honoring that voice, the action that we take. So recognizing our needs and then taking steps towards that. And as we start to, and our boundaries are spaces to create connection, they're not disconnectors. So I say that boundaries give us permissions to love. So recognizing that, oh, after 20 minutes, I get dysregulated, means that I'm going to really enjoy those 20 minutes and then I'm out of there, and that's okay. So that's some of the work there and practicing that. And then when you've got the lots of emotions in your family and supporting your siblings, and I believe when I talk about siblings, I usually talk about this, that a lot of sibling work is around supporting siblings, that it's safe and okay for them to notice their needs and to notice their boundaries. And that if they have a need for space, that doesn't mean that they reject their sibling. So think about how it might be like, go away, or just be quiet, right? And actually what's going on when they say be quiet, what they're actually saying is, oh, it's loud in my ears and I could really use quiet right now. And so creating safety for each child to start to notice their needs instead of ping-ponging off of each other. So those are some of the things. A quick tip is when you've got highly sensitive kids, when voices escalate, if you bring your voice down to a whisper voice, that can help to de-escalate or even go nonverbal. A lot of the work that I do is support parents in when you've got kids that can't read yet, you draw pictures instead of talking, because talking, sound and this auditory sense is one of the first ones to dysregulate. So you can draw pictures and it slows you down and it slows your child down. And then you can move back and forth with writing text, like writing notes back and forth instead of trying to verbally communicate. And that can also slow things down. So I hope that was supportive.
Super supportive. And I love the reframe around the dinner situation. I think that's something we can all relate to. 90% of our thoughts are negative and automatic. So here you are with the thought that you need to make dinner for your family and you're just too drained and you can't do it. So your automatic thought is, I'm not a very good mom, I'm not making dinner. So reframing it to like, I value connection time with my family. I value, giving myself a break. Therefore, today I'm ordering pizza. Like, what a beautiful reframe. Like, that's showing yourself some compassion. And that's really powerful.
Thank you, Laura.
Oh my goodness. So many comments in here. Sonali, you are in our Facebook community, right?
Yes, I believe I am.
Okay,
Yes.
because I think you may want to have a little peek and see some of these comments that are coming in for you. This has been an incredible session. I really feel like it's worth going back and watching again and taking notes if you haven't done that already. I'd like for everybody, please, 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 to show your love and gratitude for Sonali by giving her some hearts. Thank you so much, Sonali. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you came to spend this time with us, and for your generous gift that you're gifting everyone in the audience tomorrow, as well as your beautiful session. So I hope everyone has a chance to tune into you tomorrow.
Thank you. And I'm hoping to see, I will absolutely pop into the Facebook group and take a peek at those comments. So thank you so much to you, Laura, for putting this on, and then for being here and being with parents. And thank you, parents, for being here. This is a lot of fun. I love it when we get to connect. This is always fun. So thank you.
And welcome, Nicole. Let's drop some hearts for Nicole to show her our love and gratitude and appreciation. And Nicole and Sonali, you get to meet each other.
Good morning. Hi, Sonali.
Hi, Nicole. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, I love your earrings. Those are gorgeous.
What did you guys just talk about?
Oh my goodness. We were talking about boundaries. And as we were talking about boundaries, I thought this is perfect for Nicole to bring Nicole in.
Amazing. I love that.
Now, Nicole's session aired yesterday. So if you had a chance to watch Nicole's session already, let us know in the comments. If you haven't had a chance to watch her session, it will be available on the replay this Saturday and Sunday. Also in our Facebook group, oh, bye, Sonali. Also in our Facebook group, Nicole did a session before the summit started to get the party started. So Nicole shared all kinds of incredible insights and tips in that recording. So that's in the Facebook group if you want to go ahead and watch that one as well. Nicole, when I said we were talking about boundaries, what came up for you?
You know, my first thought was we don't talk about it enough, especially for those of us who are raised without boundaries. Like, I think it's really common for at least people around our age where my friends and I talk, and like that wasn't a concept. There was no instructions on that, which means, you know, our parents didn't know it either. So I used to, again, we talked about this in my last session last week. Like, I used to blame my parents a lot for not teaching me certain things, but they didn't know any better. So I can't be mad at someone who doesn't know any better. So I'm just so glad we're talking about those things now, because boundaries can make or break your quality of life.
I'm just writing down what you're saying.
Do your thing, no worries.
Sorry, I just got distracted. Sorry.
Right.
So what you said is a really, really, really good point. If our parents didn't know these things, we weren't raised with these things. So how can we possibly know to teach these things to our kids? And this is why parents, we need support, because parenting is a skill that we're always growing and evolving and developing, and we're always learning more, and it takes practice.
Yes.
And kids these days, the research, the neuroscience supports this new way of parenting. But if we weren't parented that way, we need things like this. We need summits like this. We need connections and coaching so that we can learn these strategies.
Yeah. And I would say, because I think when you become a parent, and the longer you parent, I think the more you realize how little you know and how ill-equipped you are, because every kid is so different. Every stage of life is so different. Every season you're in is so different, and it can be really overwhelming. And you kind of might be driven to either not even try at all because it's overwhelming, or bury yourself in all the information but you don't have the ability to like integrate it and like actually use it. So I want to like encourage you to just slow down and follow the nudge to the next right thing. So I know there's so many things we can learn about. We can learn about boundaries and communication and discipline and accountability and honesty and, you know, talking to our kids about sex education. There's so many things we could be talking about, but it really just do the one that is lighting you up next. That is enough, because if you get really good at this one thing, that's amazing. That's a gift you're passing on to your children. That's something you're able to help other parents with. And then when you feel ready for the next thing you want to learn, or sometimes life brings it to you and says, you now need to learn this, that's enough. But just following that nudge, one nudge at a time, is enough to be an incredible parent, to be very present, and to be growing and getting better.
So many valuable insights in what you just said there, Nicole. And I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I want to encourage parents right now who are watching, if you have questions for Nicole, maybe you saw her session and something came up for you, or maybe you have some questions now, please share them in the comments. This is meant to be an interactive session. This is your chance to ask Nicole. I always feel so incredibly grateful, Nicole, for our time together. I learn from you every time. You're such an inspiration.
I love it. I love our time. Yeah, bring on the questions. I love responding to questions.
And what I just typed in the comments, because this is really powerful. Follow the nudge to your next right thing, the one thing that is lighting you up. That's what you do next. And we had that conversation. Actually, I love when there's an overlap with when we're all talking about the same kind of thing. But Sonali and I had just shared that there are 33 experts on this summit. And if you listen to what everybody is saying and you try to implement all the strategies that everybody says, you will be overwhelmed. And then when you're overwhelmed, you don't do anything at all. So Sonali and I were just sharing, like, follow your gut, do what feels right to you, and pick one thing to move forward with.
This is a good principle. Yeah, this is a good principle for life in general. So like whether it's the summit, or say you take a digital course from someone else, and you know, when you see all the modules, or you see all the experts, you see all the panels, you see all the topics, the point, I think, and this is my own opinion, the point isn't necessarily to complete it all. The point is that you've been presented a buffet. Now, what from the buffet do you want to partake? Right? So we're not asking you to binge eat here. You don't have time or energy to consume all the content or all the experts. Like, when I look at the list, what is the thing that pops out at me? What is the thing that grabs my attention? Start there. And maybe that's the only thing you get from it. And for me, whenever I sign up for a program and say I only have a chance to listen to one module out of 10, but I get a breakthrough with that one module, and then I feel complete with the program, that's enough for me. So again, the point of these, what we create, whether it's a module, or a program, or a summit, isn't to guilt you or make you feel like you're not capitalizing on it. The point is to present you a buffet, find the thing that grabs your attention, and dive into that.
Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful that you shared that, because I can't tell you how many times, like, I have so many courses downloaded on my computer, and most of them are incomplete. And this comes up in my coaching too. People will look and they'll say, look at all these incomplete ones. Like, and then you feel bad about yourself that you haven't done them all. No, like what Nicole said, to pick the one thing that you want to focus on, and learn from that and expand from that one thing.
I love it.
Speaking of that one thing, I would love so much in the comments if you can share one thing from the summit so far that has really landed with you, really resonated with you, maybe a quote or something that somebody has shared. I would like to be making some graphics to share in this group to highlight some of the key points. And I'm looking now to see if there are some comments coming in. I don't see any questions yet. Is your chance to ask Nicole?
And if you don't know who I am, because you just hopped on, like,
sorry,
no, you're fine. Everyone's so busy. So I'm a life coach. So I cover all topics, but for this summit and specifically, I talked about sex education, right? How do you talk to your kids about these things, and how do you raise them to be not only sex positive, but also body positive, which is so interesting, Laura, because I recently had an incident where I have 5 kids, and one of my kid was making fun of another kid on their body. I just learned about this, and I was devastated, because I take a lot of pride in that I have a very body positive home. And I cried and I processed, and the kid who was being made fun of kind of like critiqued my parenting, saying I could have done better. I could have said something. I could have intervened. I should have looked out for them. And like, I let them say everything to me. I don't ever try to filter or censor my kids. I'm like, give me the raw truth, because I have the tools as an adult to pull out the golden kernel. It is not your job as a child to figure out the golden kernel is and then not share the rest. I'm like, give me everything. And so they really critiqued my parenting, and it was heartbreaking, but it was also like, I called my coach crying, and my coach is like, isn't it amazing though, that your kid felt safe enough to say those things to you? How many of us had lots of critiques about our own parents, ways our parents wounded us, and we never could say a word? And just even that perspective shift was huge for me. Like, sometimes it is hurtful when our kids say things to us about how we could be better at our job, but also I'm so glad my kids feel safe enough that they can tell me the truth. And we talked about this last time, because I'm not going to punish you. My job as a parent is not to punish you. My job as a parent is to listen to you and to get to the deeper reason for why you're saying what you're saying. And so when I thought about what they said, I'm really good at having a very progressive home, right? I'm very advanced on many topics in this household. As good as I thought I was on body positivity, I could tell there was still a gap. And so this just happened last week. I ordered 7 books for my children on body positivity and fat phobia, because I never want another kid in my home, and I don't want any other kid that crosses my kids' paths to ever feel uncomfortable in their body around my family. And so I've had this conversation with my one kid who's making fun of the other, but it's now become a family topic. And so last night we had a slumber party in my bedroom. You can see I have, we have like mattresses, like there's like 3 mattresses in my bedroom right now. Like, so I brought in 3 of the books I ordered last night, and I just set them around. And we've talked about this before. Like, my favorite parenting hack or technique is when there's information I want my kids to consume that they're not going to necessarily want to have a conversation with about in a long-term fashion, I buy a bunch of books and I set them around the house, on the stairs, on the dining room table. Last night, I set 3 of them on the bed for me to read to them, but I didn't get a chance to it because they all grabbed the books and started reading them to themselves. And I'm like, this is amazing. And so even me who teaches on these topics, I still have gaps. I'm still working on it. And so that can be a great tool if you're not sure where to start. My favorite thing is, like, I look up online, best books on body positivity or best books on sex education for kids. I order 3, 4, 5, 6 books, and then I just leave them around the house. And my kids, it's always worked for my kids. They do happen to be readers, but it's like, if I just leave them around, they will read it. And then they'll later be like, I finished it. Do you have any more books, Mom? And it just keeps that conversation going.
I love it. And I love what you share, because I think a lot of us can really relate to this, especially we're raising kids with ADHD. They feel their emotions really big. And when they're feeling those big emotions, there's no impulse control, and they're letting it all out at us. So I'm sure that we have been called the worst mom in the world and all the other things. And yes, that can really hurt. I can see how sensitive you're still feeling about that. But if you're able to process your emotions and then take a step back and realize that your child feels safe enough with you to say those things, that's huge.
Yep. It's huge. And especially if they know you're the kind of parent who's going to filter through it to find the golden nugget like that. Because some kids can say it to be mean because they know you're not going to do anything about it. And that's like the defense mechanism in them. It's like throw stuff on you, make you feel bad, hopefully bad enough to make you do something about it. But I think if you're in the summit, you have a really tender heart. And I feel like if our kids say something like that, it's because they know that you're going to try. And I think that's what I want my kids to know. It's like, I'm not going to like, okay. Like, yeah, you can say whatever you want to me. Like, I still have feelings too. But when that happens, when you don't have the impulse control, or when you are really hurting and it comes out more raw, I know what my job as the parent is. And that's for me to filter through and find that golden nugget so I can meet you there and like address the core issue. And that's something like, if there's anything I want to be really good at as a parent, because there's so many things I could be good at, but that I'm not, it's like that. I always want to get to the deeper issue. I always want to get to the golden kernel that's actually going to have the biggest impact on my kids.
I'm just writing that down. Filter through and find the golden kernel. And this is what Sonali was also sharing. She's like, we have to look underneath, because when we're seeing these behaviors, there's a core value or a core need that's not being met. And we as the parents, we get to kind of figure out what that is and see how we can offer support. There's a question that came in for you. This is from Chris. She said, my son is 15. He's 6'1", but only 120 pounds. And he gets very sensitive about people calling him skinny and people telling him to eat a cheeseburger. And he's like, I can't help it. And it gets very old and makes me uncomfortable.
You know, so interesting. Like, Chris, first, I'm so sorry. I just like want to protect your baby. I'm just like, any parent or mom, we just like want to wrap him up and like protect him from the world, because it's so painful to watch our kids not be loved and understood for who they are. Because like, there's things we can't change about ourselves. He can't help it, but that he's on the skinny side, and yet the other kids act like he can. and this is something interesting because we have a lot of fat phobia in America. We're very judgmental. There's discrimination against people who are bigger size in the workplace and in the hospitals. Like, it's a huge issue in our country. But what isn't as talked about is this. The flip side is just as true. I remember I had two really skinny girlfriends growing up, and I always envied them, and I thought everyone envied them. And I later found out they were also made fun of their whole childhood. They're too skinny. And so that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, you realize you can't win. You're either going to be too big, or you're too skinny, or you're just more than this, or not enough of that. And so this is like this. So the bigger issue here is what I would want to talk about with my kid. And I'm sure he already knows this, but just like helping him realize, like, you could even be bigger and you would be made fun of. Then you could be the average size and then you're made fun of for not having like 6-pack. Like, there's always something someone's going to criticize us over. And that's, again, where with my kids, as I'm like talking to them about body positivity, they're a couple of them are going to a new school this year, and it's a bigger school than their previous school. And I said, you're going to find kids of all different sizes and shapes in your classroom. You will never comment on their body. Whether you think they're too skinny, you think they're too big, we never comment on another person's body. That is never okay. And if you ever hear another kid commenting, insulting, making fun of, making jokes about another kid's body, you say something. We say, that is not okay. We don't do that here. Right. And so, like, just even teach them, no matter what the kid looks like, no matter what a body looks like, it is never our job to comment on it. Then beyond that, like, I don't know if there's a couple practical things there. Like, so I know one of my kids was being picked on a lot about his body. And so they were moved to another school, right? Because it was like, how can we protect him so that he doesn't grow up with, again, this core wound? Like, what can we do as parents to protect his well-being? So I wonder, like, is that an option? Is there a smaller school? Is there a safer school? There is no perfect school, but what we did, we took that kid out of a huge school and put him in a really small school. And that was actually really, really good for him. And now he's going back into a big school again. So, like, I don't know if there's something practical like that. I don't know if there's interventions that can happen in school. I'm a mama bear when it comes to schools. Like, I will hold schools accountable to the way they take care of problems like this in school. They don't get to tell me. I remember last year, one of my kids was being bullied. And when I told the school about it, they said, don't worry, we'll handle it. I'm like, that is not enough for me. You will tell me exactly what you're doing, because if I don't want to like slap their wrist, like, okay, don't do it again. Right. So I stayed on top of the school, and it's not my personality. I like to trust people, but I know how busy school systems are. I know how overwhelmed they are. I know how under-resourced they are. And so my job is not only just a parent of my child, but as a parent representing all children, it's to make sure this doesn't happen to another kid. So if I have to kind of stay on top of the school system, like, what are you doing? What's the next step? How are we going to help protect this kid? What are the interventions that you're going to do in the classroom? I would go towards school, to the leadership, to the teacher, to the principal, and make sure everyone's on the same page. And then I did monthly check-ins with the school staff. I'm like, and I'm sure I was a pain in their neck, but I was like, you do not get to dismiss me, the well-being of my child, or any other child in your classroom. I'm advocating for the safety of all children. So this, like, I think for you, that can kind of infuse your fire. You're not babying your son. You're not doing it just to make him safe. You're helping make the school safe for all children of all sizes. And that's what allowed me to act a little bit unlike me, which is I will stay on top of you every single month for the school year to make sure to do what I can in my power that this doesn't happen again in the classroom.
This is so powerful. And that's such an important point to make. We often will feel like, well, I want to trust the school. I don't want them to think that I'm that pushy parent. But you're right. Like, I'm a teacher, and in a school system, the schools are busy, and a teacher in a classroom has, 30 kids to think about. So speak up, step up. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling a little bit pushy, it's okay. Like, let your voice be heard. You are advocating for your child. And these are kids. They need us to advocate for them. So what a beautiful thing that you did, Nicole, stepping up. And I love that you set up the monthly check-in. I think that's really important, especially when we're raising kids with neurodiversities, to arrange that. And so if you have this set up in advance, and this is a nice thing as we're entering a new school year, once a month, we're going to check in. It's not just like I'm getting together when there's a problem. It's like
Yes.
once a month we're checking in, and and we're working collaboratively together. I love that.
I love that. Proactive, preventative. And listen, like I was a high school teacher for 5 years, so I know how busy and under-resourced teachers are. And I would have actually appreciated a parent stay on top of me, because otherwise I just wouldn't get around to it. I would have the best intentions, but you're like you said, you have 30 other kids, right? I was teaching 100 kids when I was a high school teacher. So it's like, I remember I felt like kids were slipping through the cracks in my hands. I had such guilt over it. And if I had had a parent hound me, at least for one of those kids, at least I know that kid would not have slipped through the cracks. So really, I think it might have you might have the fear that you're annoying, but really, I think you could be a blessing to the teacher, because at least at the end of the year, I know at least I was able to help that one kid, because there were so many slipping through my fingers, I couldn't help. I just didn't have the bandwidth, and I didn't have someone hounding me to make sure I did. So I think it actually is a blessing if you are able to help hold a teacher in a school accountable, because at least that's one less kid slipping through the cracks, and your kid is worth it. And that might prevent another kid slipping through too.
Thank you. Thank you for this inspiration. And people are really loving what you're saying. I see lots of hearts coming in for you, and people saying that they're going to start doing this monthly check-in. So great idea. We have just a few moments left. I'm trying to be mindful of the time, because at 2 o'clock, the VIPs will be hopping on a Zoom call with me to deepen our learning. Yeah. Terry just wrote, I like the word advocating for the kids. I think that's really powerful, right?
You're doing.
One more comment that came in from CJ. I'll read that one, and then maybe you can offer us your final thoughts of wisdom. So CJ said, trying to get my daughter to advocate for my 6-year-old ADHD grandson. So CJ's a grandma. She wants her daughter to advocate for the 6-year-old, but being ADHD herself, this is hard. Is it wrong for me to advocate for him too?
This is a fantastic question, and it just highlights how big and beautiful your heart is. And I'm so glad your grandchild has you. Like, this is the beauty of generational relationships. This is the power of keeping generational relationships intact when they're healthy. Like, there's times you have to take breaks and stuff to heal and mend. But I do think consent is so important to me, that getting the blessing from your child, your daughter, or was it her daughter?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I would have a very honest conversation, like, daughter, I love you so much. I love your daughter so much. Like, I'm so happy we have this generational connection, and I want your daughter to thrive as much as you want her to thrive. And I also know how difficult it is with ADHD. And so I want to offer my support and my services in any way. If there's something I can help advocate for your daughter with, if it's too overwhelming for you or too frustrating, or you're just exhausted, or you don't know, like, I am willing to be an advocate alongside of you. Is that something you're open to having a conversation about, and just opening and just like kind of addressing the elephant in the room? Because I'm sure there's tension where she probably feels like you're overstepping, and maybe you feel like she's not stepping in enough. And it's like, and like owning that if you've overstepped, I would apologize, because your intention is good. But every child who becomes a parent, we feel like sometimes we can be a little suffocated by our parents because they think they know better. So I think really owning that, like, it's because I love you that I'm doing this, but I realize I've overstepped, and because I've overstepped, I violated your trust. And I understand why you have a hard time trusting me. So I'm wondering if we can have a conversation about what can I do to help rebuild that trust with you? And then what do you feel okay with me being involved in? And what is off limits for you? Because at the end of the day, you're their parent. And as much as I want to do the best for them, I'm not their parent, and I have to entrust that child to you, just like you were entrusted to me. So I want to apologize for the way I've let you down, or I've overstepped, or I've broken your trust. I'm committed to doing better. And then what are you comfortable with me helping out with? Would be huge. It's humbling. It's hard, but those holy conversations change relationships and change lives.
You just gave so many beautiful words right there, that you can bring into that conversation. And I'm so grateful, CJ, that you're a grandmother who is so involved in your grandchild's life. There's quite a few grandmothers in the summit this time around, and I am so grateful. Like, I've got tears in my eyes with gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful for the grandparents who are a support, because yes, as parents raising kids with ADHD, it's a lot. We can often feel isolated. We often feel overwhelmed. We're often trying to juggle, family life and work life and all the things. So having grandparents who are helping to raise the kids, helping to take care of the kids, like, in any capacity, like, it is so incredibly beneficial for parents and for the grandchildren. And we want to wrap a village of support around our kids, and kids feel that genuine love from their grandparents. So thank you, thank you, thank you to all the grandparents who are in the summit today and who are supporting families. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for pulling us together. This was amazing. I'm so glad you're gonna have your VIP call. Go deep, have an amazing time.
Yay.
This was incredible. Thank you for having me.
And I'm so grateful for your generous contribution to this event, Nicole.
First.
Well,
I'll
sending
see you
you all
later.
so much love. Let's give Nicole a whole bunch of hearts to show her our love and our gratitude and appreciation. Nicole, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Bye.
We have some prizes to draw for, and I'm going to put off the prizes until later on today. So I'm going to pop on later to do the prizes, and this will give you a little bit of a chance to watch a few more of the sessions, comment on those speaker threads so that my team has a chance to see who's commenting, who's participating, who's sharing. Go ahead and share. Like, there's lots of graphics that are going around. You can share on your social media. Let people know why you're in the summit, what you're loving about the summit, why they should come and join too. Be sure to tag me at Laura Dawn or at the ADHD Village so we know that you've shared. And later on today, I'll be popping in here, and I don't know what time. It will just be a random pop in, but I'll be doing the draw for 3 prizes. We have Stephanie Pinto's book, From Chaos to Connection. We have a VIP Platinum All Access Pass. So that includes the beautiful journal. It includes the Zoom calls. It includes the Heart Brain Boot Camp. It includes the 21-day Love You Emotional Intelligence Challenge, the Love You in Your Marriage Masterclass, and 1 month of support inside the Love You Parenting membership. So we'll be doing a draw for that, and also a draw for private coaching with me. I wanted to mention, if you have your VIP already, be sure to click on the link that I shared with you to start activating your Love You membership. And if you are interested in having your coaching call with me at 60% off, please do reach out to me. If you're interested in working with me in a deeper capacity, please reach out to me. I do offer private coaching. And in October, my signature group coaching program, the ADHD Warrior Mama, I'll be opening 10 spots up for that in October. So I'm starting to start building that group now. I do take my time to build it. I make sure that people who come in are kind of in alignment with the same sort of vision and goals. There's an application process to get in. So if that's something that you are interested in, please reach out to me and let me know, and I'll let you know what the process is. So that's a 1-year container of group coaching support. It's called the ADHD Warrior Mama. Okay, I need to take a little lunch break, and at 2 o'clock, I will see all the VIPs on Zoom. I'm so incredibly grateful that you've spent this time with me. I'm so grateful that you're in the ADHD Village. Thank you, thank you, thank you for participating in this summit. Together, we are shifting the parenting paradigm, and we are changing the way the world treats kids with ADHD. I am so deeply grateful for you. Thank you for being here. Please continue to share in the Facebook group. Share your insights, share things that are standing out for you, because when you share in the group, it really inspires others. And again, I'd like to turn some of your beautiful quotes into graphics in our group. So that will be coming soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you later in the village. Bye.